Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Oner podcast, the podcast where we break down and review films all in one big, long, unbroken take. I'm Austin Archer, and with me, as always, is my childhood next-door neighbor and lifelong best friend,
Kramer, England.
Yeah, I'm wearing, I didn't have a lot of stuff. It looks like the sky, right?
Yeah. Andy
I'm
Sky.
wearing
Yeah, I got that.
like the Toy Story sky blue kind of
Yeah, that's good.
details here. I didn't really, I didn't, this sort of looks like a Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, it does. It looks like some sort of toy that they would have.
Yeah,
Whatever Trousdale, is that what it is?
yeah, it's a band.
Oh,
But
nice.
I'm sort of decked out in I'm color coded today.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
It fits.
we
I
are.
get it. I get the theme.
Thank you. We are talking about Toy Story 5. The toys are back in town. Toy Story 5 the remix.
Yeah, that's
uh,
good. Yeah.
how do you feel about Toy Story 5, Kramer?
I didn't love it. I was hey, I went with my family. I went with my
Uh-huh.
wife and all my kids, which was great. And
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe I wasn't in the best mood, but there was too much going on. I appreciate what they were trying to do. I really liked the theme that they were going for, but they glazed over it so fast that it didn't have any time to set in for me. And I feel like there were too many storylines, too many callbacks, too many things that were going on to help me enjoy this movie. And also, like, I'm fine. This is Jesse's movie. I'm fine
Mhm.
with that. But like Buzz and Woody were like felt so shoehorned in
Yeah.
that I was kind of like, oh, okay, that wasn't the biggest deal to have them there. So I thought 4 was better, and I was expecting this to be better than 4.
Mhm.
And it already has a huge bar to cross anyway, so I just didn't love it.
Yeah, it's weird that to me that the reviews are so universally positive
Yeah.
across the board. But then I feel like all the positive reviews are just people being like, "Well, I can't say that it's bad because it's
Yes,
not."
I've
And
seen that too, I agree.
that's kind of my feeling is it's like I can't sit here and tell you that it's a poorly made film or a poorly written film or a
Yes.
poorly animated film or it's a quality high caliber animated film. Like all of the Toy Story films are. The people who make
Yeah.
these things hold themselves to a very high standard.
Yes.
But uh but yeah, it's like increasingly more and more, it's harder for these films to justify their own existence. I agree with you. I don't mind that this is Jesse's movie, but it is a little bit of a bummer to see our main guys relegated to this sort of unnecessary supporting role.
Yeah.
But we're experiencing one of the big issues with this franchise, which is like I sat there in the theater, Kramer, and I just was like, these might be the most depressing films in existence. Like they might be the saddest films in the world. Like I don't think I actually watch these films and like enjoy myself ever. I think I'm always like pretty melancholic and sad when I watch them
That's
because
so funny.
because of the it's
Yeah,
like like the
I listened to your first thoughts, and I see what
yeah,
you're saying. Yeah.
it's I think that what Disney or what Pixar did with Cars works because the kind of idea behind Cars is like, don't think much about it. It's just sentient cars. It's just like
Yeah.
the
And
cars are
everything is a
alive
car, though. Yeah.
and everything's a car.
Yeah.
And there are no humans in this world. And there's no storyline where a car is like, my whole life I loved being driven by Frank. And then Frank died of a heart attack one day. And now I'm just rotting away in a junkyard and my life is miserable. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's like we don't have to, it's like the cars just run the world. And when you think about it, you're like, why is there just a universe where everything is a car? If that's the
Right.
case, couldn't there just be like a movie called Doors or like a
Yeah,
movie
you
called
could do
like
it about anything.
Sweaters? Or and it's like,
Yeah.
sure. The thing about Toy Story is they did from the jump, they did too good of a job. They gave these characters too much depth, too much interiority, too much dimensionality. And now I'm burdened with the knowledge that these toys are just like perpetually heartbroken and like all,
Right.
like every story that they're in is just so sad. And, like,
It
y- y-
it
you
it
know,
re I totally get what you're saying, and it is, the funny thing is they dug themselves a hole
yeah,
because it's kind of like, okay, these toys are sentient, but how do they die? Like you said in your first thoughts, like, yeah, in Toy Story 3, they would be incinerated and they would die. But other than that, how else would they die? Like, there's no way out of what they've created. And now I am of the mindset that, like, yeah, just don't think too much about it for
right,
Toy Story because that's like,
right.
because the story is good, but it is funny though because I still think like, oh man, what happens if these toys were alive? What about my toys that I loved when I was a kid if they were alive? Which one was my favorite? And did they have, like, you inherently go through those thoughts anyway. So it's
W-
harder to turn off that thought because of what they've already given you.
The reason why it's hard to turn that thought off is because the films are about what their
They
sentience
are.
does to them. The
Yes.
films are like directly about it's like, well, because you're sentient, it sucks to be Sid's toy. Like, it would
Yeah.
be totally fine to be Sid's toy if you weren't alive for it. But, like,
Yes.
because you're alive, it's really bad to be Sid's toy. Because Woody's alive, he has to feel the heartbreak of being chosen, having Buzz chosen over him.
Yeah.
Because Jessie's alive, she has a lifelong wound that cannot be healed from Emily,
Yeah.
and, like,
Yes.
she'll never get over it. And it's like there's nothing. I mean, Big Al shouldn't have stolen Woody from a garage sale, but
Right.
there's nothing inherently wrong with being a collector of antique toys. But because these toys are
No.
alive, being kept in a glass case drives them insane. Like, the prospector
Yeah.
character is driven insane by being kept in a glass case where he can't be played with.
Yeah.
And and it's like the same thing happens to Teddy in the third movie where it's like, because
Right.
you're alive,
Yeah.
you've been driven insane by being forced to be played uh rough by the
Right.
toddlers at this school. And so it's like when you say like, just don't think about it that much, which is how I've kind of always approached these films.
Yeah.
It's still like, yeah, but the problem is the movies are about
Yeah. They're
what
making you think about it.
they're making me think about it. And
Yeah.
like, they won't let me off the hook with Jesse and Emily. Like, they just
No.
like this the way this movie starts, I was like, oh my goodness, it's
Yeah.
just it hurts.
And that's the worst part about this movie is because the conclusion that Jesse comes to is a great one, but I felt like they glossed over it so much
Yeah.
that, like, because which I guess we should say spoilers. We're going to be
Yeah,
talking about
spoilers.
spoilers.
Yeah.
So this is our
If you don't
spoiler
want the
filled.
spoilers, we've got a
Yeah.
spoiler-free version over on the channel.
Yes,
Yeah.
go watch that. But the conclusion that Jesse comes to is childhood is really short, and I'm glad I got to have that short time with my kid. But it was so quick that, and then she's like, "Well, we got to go save Lily Pad now." And I was like, "Okay, wait. You need to let that hit a little bit harder because this is actually what could give toys closure because no toys have closure." Like,
Yeah.
and Jessie finally comes to a closure for her relationship with Emily. But, like, they need that to make us feel okay about them being not played with anymore. And
But that's also the arc of 1, 2, and 3. Like, that's the
yeah,
landing place of 3 is Woody and Buzz accepting that they were lucky to have the time with Andy that they had,
yeah,
and
that's true.
realizing that, like, they're even luckier to get another shot at it with Bonnie. And then 4, the different thing that it does is it's like
Yeah,
Woody goes like, "You know what? What if I go do something else?" And it just felt like in 5, in so many ways, 5 was just 1 again. It's
it
just,
was. Yeah,
uh,
it's like a requel.
Jess yeah, Jesse and Lily are just Woody and Buzz.
Uh-huh.
And, and it's the same story of Jesse doesn't like that she's being kicked out of the number 1 spot by the new
Yep.
flashy toy.
Uh-huh.
And
Yep.
then those toys have to learn how to work together and how to help Lily together. And, and, they also have to accept you know, the limitations on the time that they get to have an impact on this kid. But
Mhm.
even that in and of itself, that theme, that story of realizing that, hey, you don't get much time with this kid and you need to appreciate the time you have. And childhood is this, like, that's
Mhm.
sad because
Yeah.
it's a limited space for Bonnie, and Bonnie's gonna go off and have all these different chapters. But again, like, what we keep being confronted with our main characters is, like, they don't get to forget about these kids. Like, they don't get to they don't g it would be one thing if it was, like, the thing that brings you to life, similar to how Forky came to life
Right,
in
right.
life in the 4th movie is, like, once a child endows you with the spirit of a toy, you become alive and you become sentient. And that's the weird thing about 4 is how they explore with Forky, like, the strange nature of just being like, "Ah, why was I
Yeah.
made to exist? Like,
Yeah.
what in the world?" You know, but then
Right.
it's like they have to explain to him like, "No, it's okay. Here's your purpose. Your entire
Yeah,
life
yeah,
exists to play with this kid." But it's like then it would be one thing if it's like once that kid moves on from endowing you with their
yeah,
imagination, you get to like go back to being inanimate. But the films
yeah,
are just like, nope, you just got to live forever.
yeah.
And
Well, and that's like again, that's they dug their own hole, they pinned themselves into
yeah,
a corner. Because if in the first one they had something, or in one of the subsequent ones, like once your kid moves on, that's when you stop becoming sentient, right? And it's a beautiful thing. Like you could have done that, but you can't. They can't undo that now because toys live forever and like they're always sentient. Like it is a weird. You want you yes, try not to think about it, but
right.
the movie forces you to think about it.
I remember thinking when I saw Toy Story 3 in theaters
Yeah.
and they were all heading toward the incinerator. And that's the reason why that scene was so impactful is because sometimes in a movie franchise, they'll put the main characters in like a perilous situation like that,
Yeah.
and you think
Yeah.
they're never gonna let these characters die. I
Right.
actually had the thought, "Oh, this might be the only way it can go for them." Like they might, and the fact that like we see them accept it, we
Yeah.
see them all like
Yeah.
hold hands and
Hold
look each
hands.
other in the
Yeah.
eye, and they all kind of accept like, you know what, like it has to stop at some point. And
Yeah.
that like it's so heavy for a
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
movie
I
to
know.
the looks on their faces as they're all like, "Hey, we were lucky to have the time
Yeah.
that we had, and
Yeah.
honestly, this might be the best case scenario for us is that we're put out of our misery."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thought in the theater, like, actually, yeah, as sad as I am to see them go, I think you need to let them die. And then when they
Right.
didn't die and Andy gave them to Bonnie, I was like, okay, that's obviously a really lovely thing, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
devastating to watch Andy play with them one more time in the yard with Bonnie and then leave them. But all
Right.
I could think at the end of that was like, well, it's just gonna happen again.
I know. I
It's just
know.
you
That's the
know?
problem with all the it is they gotta find a way to bring closure to these toys.
They
And
can't.
they can't.
They can't.
They
They
can't.
can't.
They have toy I know. They
And
said,
it's also
"Oh,
like
well."
because they're going to make Toy Story 6,
Yeah.
they can't, and they're going to make 7, 8, 9. They can't set them free. And
Yeah.
that's, that's a
Yeah.
it's a big
It's a hard thing.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've got the
Yeah.
same problem with their voice actors that so it's like, well, if you're trying to make Jesse the new focal character, you got the same problem with Joan Cusack that you have with Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, which is they're not getting any younger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how many more movies can you get in before they don't exist anymore?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
I
these
don't know
movies
either.
are their depth is their strength, and it's
Yes.
also
Yes.
their
Their
biggest
weakness.
problem
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's it feels like the creative team is like they're in this weird thing with Disney where they're like, "Stop making us do this. Stop making us, like, bring these characters back to be existentially tormented." And Disney's like, "Never."
Existentially tormented.
Yeah.
Toy Story 6, the existential torment.
Yeah. It feels like every movie
Is
like,
pretty much is,
dealing
yeah.
with, like, the, "Why do I exist? What is this? Like,
Yeah.
why?" And even the concept of Toy Story 4 being like, "I'm just gonna go out into the woods and be a wild toy." It's just like
Yeah, and, like,
yeah.
bring other kids joy, which was nice. That was at
Right
least something, but yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But they
Right off
all
the
deal with
bat
that.
yeah. Right off the bat too in this movie with, like, uh, this gang of rogue Buzz Lightyears that are like a new brand of Buzz Lightyear where the movie's
Yeah,
trying to do this blend of like, this is a Buzz Lightyear that's high tech and has Wi-Fi and
I
is a
didn't
Wi-Fi, and is a carrier
yeah,
drone and things like that.
yeah. It
Uh,
felt like such a way to get a new toy out there.
Which also it's like, hey, if you guys know that you're capable of pushing a button and turning into drones, why didn't you just do that at the beginning of the movie when you were chasing Star
Well,
Command?
Lily Pad unlocked them.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
Yeah.
that yeah,
So, yeah.
correct. That's true. But it's also like even these toys, they wake up on the beach, and there's something about being a Buzz Lightyear toy, which is like, as a Buzz Lightyear, you don't know that you're not Buzz Lightyear until
Yeah.
someone makes it abundantly clear to you. You don't
Yeah.
understand that you're a toy, and there's something right away that I'm just like, that's a nightmare in and of itself. It's like
Yeah. I
it's just
know.
these toys that don't know that what they are.
I know. It's so weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Uh, okay, yeah. So the general thoughts are, it's not poorly made. If anything, it's too well made, and that's its problem.
Yeah.
Also, it's not telling us anything we haven't already done in this franchise. It's it's
Yeah.
kind of sad to see Woody and Buzz put into a supporting role. Not that there's anything wrong with Jessie being the main character.
No, no, there's
It's just
nothing.
her storyline here is kind of a retread of the first one.
Yeah.
Uh, Highest highs, what's working best for you in this film?
I think the thing that worked best for me was the imagination parts, the where
Yes.
Bonnie is playing and the animation style changes and it becomes a little more 2D, and it's just funny, to hear the things that are going on because it sounds like a kid, and I
Yeah.
think that adds a lot of character. It adds a lot of heart to the movie, and I think it's really funny. I think I enjoyed that the most, and I enjoyed, like, it did have a heart. I liked the story that was going on. I just felt like it wasn't executed well. So
Mhm.
I appreciated that they were trying to go for what they were trying to go for. Um, but so I honestly, I think the best part was just the imagination part. What are
I
your
think
highest
I
highs?
Yeah, I agree with that. The stuff that got me, like, emotionally engaged in a positive way were those sequences of play. When
Yeah,
Blaze is playing or when Bonnie's
yeah,
playing with the toys, and they go into that different style of animation. I liked that added detail to the
mhm,
animation. I also just I like how every time one of these movies comes out, they find a way to somehow add a new layer of, depth and detail to the artistry of the animation of these
right.
things. Like,
Yep.
there's like a shot where Woody and Buzz are hanging onto the bumper of a car, and I was like, "That looks like a photorealistic car." Like, I was
Yeah,
like, "That."
yeah,
It just I was just like I was thinking of, like, comparing that to the Yo truck from the first
yeah,
one, and the
yeah,
way cars looked in the first one, and I was like, "Man, that is a detailed, automobile that they are holding
hmm,
onto." And there
yeah.
were a few shots in this film where my brain initially thought, "Did we just go into the real world?" Like, I thought, like, "Did the movie transfer us into," and then,
Right.
it would show, like, a human being's face, and I was like, "Oh, no, we're still in cartoon. Okay."
Yeah.
But they just have continued to enrich that
Yeah.
movie to movie.
Totally.
I appreciate the character development and the depth and that is given to the different characters in these films.
Mhm.
I like, like, I got my heart swelled when Jesse found the keepsake box from Emily, even though I was still like, no person's naming their kid after their doll.
I know, and it was a little like, why is it felt a little Deus Ex Machina and to me,
Totally.
because
Yeah.
it's like, it's left there and buried, like, and you just happen to find it, and it tells you and unlocks the secrets of everything you've been wanting to know, like, that's
Right.
a cheat, like,
Yeah.
I didn't buy
Emily
that.
named her daughter Jessie after me, and I'm like, "No, she didn't." That's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing, Jesse. I'm sorry to tell you, no, she didn't. Emily put you in a box and left you on the side of the road and then forgot about you. And, like, because that's what we do, and you know why? Because 'Cause you're not supposed to be alive. Because you're not supposed to know that I did that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
and, so the movie's like, I don't know, it's giving Jessie this moment that she
yeah,
desperately needs, but it's also telling me that Jessie's not over that thing that happened, and that and she can't be, because the entire reason she exists is to have those moments. But
mhm,
that's the double-edged sword of those imagination moments,
yeah,
is like,
yeah,
is they're beautiful, but we
mhm,
also know how devastating they are for the toys when they end. I liked, Conan O'Brien in this movie.
Oh, yes, I should have put him in
Uh,
there because I thought he was one of the best parts of the movie. Yeah.
yeah, but also like there's a really quick line in this movie where you know Jesse is kind of trying to explain to the devices what
Yeah.
play is, and she finds out that the amount of time they had with Blaze was like 6 months.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
like she finds out that the lifespan of a device when it comes to how long they get to play with the kid is significantly shorter, and I was like, "Man, that's sad." Like,
Yeah.
that's
That sucks for those devices. Everything is
sucks.
sentient.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, "Geez."
yeah.
What else did I write down that works here for me? I really got a kick out of Buzz and Woody riding in on these fancy horses.
Yeah, that was
I
pretty funny. That was pretty
Yeah,
great. I thought that was really, really great too. Yeah.
that was probably my biggest laugh of the film was them riding in on because like we grew up with those like they're like the fancy like Barbie horse stalls that are
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
detailed than
My Little
Bullseye and
Pony. Yeah.
yeah, with like and Buzz rides in on like the neon Technicolor one with the like pink swirling hair and the wings, and I was like,
Yeah.
"That's awesome."
Yeah,
That's
I thought that
yeah,
was hilarious. I thought that was
yeah,
great.
yeah,
That was,
and yeah,
yeah, those ones
yep,
were great. I thought and I like they were on the side of the road and they all had to stop as the car went by. That was pretty
yeah.
funny. But
That's the kind of stuff that I am willing to not think too hard about in this franchise is like,
yeah,
why is Bullseye and the other horses, why are they horses, but Rex is just like a guy? And
exactly. Yeah.
Piggy is just like a guy. Like
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
And Slinky's just a guy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you are the animal that you are when you're sentient, then but it's like
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I'm like, cool. It's Pluto and Goofy. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I'm there
yeah.
with you. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, and yeah, the film was able to still tug at my heartstrings a few times.
Yeah.
Um, but that's
That
a complicated
yeah.
thing
That goes
because
into my lowest lows, if that's okay.
yeah, go
Because
ahead.
I think honestly, it was I never cried in this one. Like in Toy Story 3, I was like, it was hard.
Yeah,
The end of that movie because it was so great. Like
yeah,
Andy's playing and they give it to Bonnie and it was so that was so good. On this one, I never had enough time to sit with it to actually let it sink in. And I think that's
yeah,
my biggest frustration because again, as I said before, that Jessie has the realization like she sees Jessie was here and she's like, oh, Jessie, Emily named her daughter after me, like, oh, and I'm here, it's not a lot of time, but I'm glad that I got that time. And then they immediately go and I was like, okay, but I want more of this. Like I want this to be, because the end of Toy Story, like when the toys are about to die in Toy Story 3, the pacing of that scene is prolonged. It's
mhm,
drawn out so that it can really drag out that emotion and give those characters those moments, right? And then when they play
mhm,
with Andy, it's more drawn out. The pacing is perfect because it gives me time to realize what's going on. And Andy has that moment. In this, everything felt like it was way too quick. Like she
mhm,
says a thing and then they leave. And like I'm like, okay, the pacing so it really is ultimately that the problem of having too many things going on at once. There's too many
yeah,
storylines going on. There were too many scenes to get to where they needed to go, and to kind of they were trying to smash so much in and have references to the previous movies. And like I'm like, I don't really care about all those. You could take all those out and have a little bit more time to let those moments that are supposed to hit, and it just
yeah,
didn't hit for me. So it was like you have too much going on. You have way too many things going on. If you trim out some of the fat, I think it would have been a much more effective emotional story, in my opinion. That was the biggest
y
thing that I had a problem with.
yeah,
And then
I keep going.
and then I really just like we talked about Deus Ex Machina, right, with the Emily's daughter.
Mhm.
We went over that, but also all the buzzes, like that was I didn't need that. I didn't
Some
think
people,
that
that's their
was
favorite part of the movie, but I was like, "This is actually taking away runtime from the main story, and it's not
yeah.
really doing it's not adding really anything."
Yeah.
other than just
I
I think it could be fun as its own little short.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it could be you could make a little short movie, like a 20-minute fun short about these
Totally.
buzzes, but
Totally.
they don't need to be in this film.
I agree. And it did.
Yeah.
It took away the runtime and it felt like, oh, we can now sell buzz drones. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay. And I laughed at it. Again, like, oh, this is pretty funny. All the drones, there's an after credit scene, which did you see this?
No, I didn't.
Oh, there's an after credit scene just after the main credits, and all these Buzz Lightyears come down. All the drones come down to different kids, and they're like, "Oh, wow!" And like one of the teachers, it's like at a school recess,
Oh,
right?
yeah. No, I did see that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, and then
yeah,
Zurg shows up, yeah.
one of the teachers like steals it, right? Is like I thought I laughed and I thought it was funny, and all the sequences themselves were funny. But I totally agree. If it's its own short movie, its own short film, I would like that a lot more than having it shoved into this movie.
There's this weird, like, uh, cynical preachiness with all of these films, which is like I felt this way since I was a kid, where like the movies feel like they're chastising me for growing up, like that it's like, how dare you?
Yeah, yeah.
How dare you turn your back on, like, the play and the imagination that you had when you were a kid? How dare you pay bills and be a boring adult? And, like Disney's like, "We remember when we used to be your main guys. How dare you?" Like, and but it's this weird cynical thing because it's also like this movie's like, oh, the tech era versus the old school era, and how these iPads, these tablets are actually like ruining these kids' brains and turning them into zombies, and they don't know how to play anymore. And but I'm like, Disney, you're part of the problem. Like you are the problem. Like you like
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
and it just, I don't feel like the resolution in these films and in this film is honest. I don't buy the resolution with Jesse, that like, I don't buy that Emily left a keepsake box for her there that tells her that she named her daughter after her. I don't, as touching as that is, I don't buy it. And I also don't buy that like the toys are going to find harmony with Lilypad. Like, I think Lilypad is largely the future. And I don't, and also but at the end of the movie, I'm like, cool, you found a friend to play toys with for a couple more years,
mhm,
and I'm nowhere nearer to my friends being let off the hook here. Like,
mhm.
I just kind of like, I wrote down as my lowest lows, I said, set my friends free. Let them go.
Yes,
Let them go, Disney. Stop saying through the screen at me that it's my fault that they're sad. You let them go, okay? Stop making them do this. Stop breaking their hearts. Stop making them sad and making me watch it. You let them go. Just,
yeah,
you've made
yep,
enough money off of them. Let them go. But
yeah.
that's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
So,
No.
yeah. Okay, themes. There's a lot. Well, I mean, that's kind of what makes this movie work the most, I think, is just
Yeah,
the themes at the core of the franchise are the things that always work for me, and are also the things that I'm like, man, these movies bum me out. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, I wrote down as like my biggest theme. That's my favorite thing in Toy Story, which you listed as one of your highest highs, which is just sort of the sacred nature of childhood
totally.
and imagination and play, and that space in life that's a brief window of a few years. You and I lived it together,
Right.
and we got, we went through it together, playing with our action figures and making believe every day after school.
Yep.
And it's this brief space where you're allowed to spend hours a day creating for for the sheer sake of creating. There's no aspiration to it. There's no goal. There's no profit motive. There's no, how can we turn this into something that could find an audience or that we
Yeah.
could monetize. It's just dreaming and playing, because that's the only goal of the day, is just to have a fun time playing. And I really have always liked that about these films. That still is the stuff that works the best here for me.
Yeah.
Um, but then there's also, themes about like gaming versus playing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
uh, you know, what's happening to our kids in the tech era, and is it
Yeah.
safe? And then there's also this other theme of like the burden of sentience. the burden of being aware of what's happening to you.
Yes.
And humans are allowed to process that in our own unique way because we age and we grow and we go through chapters and our life takes on different meanings as we go through different
Yeah.
phases. And eventually we get to die and we get to go into a new phase of existence. And I just don't know what is going on with our main characters here. And they're
Yeah.
yeah.
Will they ever die? Yeah.
Yeah. Will
No,
they
I
ever
think
get to like outgrow this? Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah, those I mean, for sure. I think the theme that I liked the most out of this, which kind of goes into your, the sacred nature of playing and all that. But I really did love the conclusion that Jesse came to. But again, it didn't hit as hard as it could. But this thing of, you know, childhood, like we can only do so much. And okay, as a parent, this hit me harder because like, we can only do so much with our kids while they're kids. Like, and just be happy that you got that time with them. Like, be happy and love that you had that. And so from a parent's perspective, I was like, yeah, that's, our kids are only young for so long. And like, I really did love that time with them. And it wasn't perfect. I didn't, I wasn't I wasn't playing all the time. Obviously, we have things that we have to do as adults, but like I really did love that time. And I look on it with fondness, but it only lasts for so long,
It's
right? Yeah, it's
it's
so quick. And I mean,
yeah.
man, I have pictures on my phone of my kids, and it cycles every hour to a different picture. And I just am always like, oh, I remember that time. Like, oh, it's so sad. But it also fills you with a lot of happiness. Like there's a lot of really good things that come with childhood, and remember the good things that come with it, right? Like that's kind of, and I really liked that theme. And I loved that they had Jesse come to that realization, but as we talked about, there are obviously problems with that. So I really loved that theme. I thought that was great. Wish they could have like had a more impactful ending with that. But I also liked I liked this theme of like friendship is hard, and like
Mhm.
you need to find the right friends. Like Bonnie
Mm.
does not really find the right friends, right? They're all
Yeah.
wanting to be on the device, but she's a little bit different. She likes to use her imagination more. So I really liked that, and I loved the character of Blaze, that they like find each other. I thought that was really great. Um, I thought they were trying to go for a theme of like, oh, you can balance screen time and play, but it definitely leaned more towards like, no, you should be playing and not playing on your screen. I thought they could have played that up a little bit more. Like maybe they could have had Bonnie and Blaze playing together, like on something to show that, like, oh, you can do both. But I don't know. I mean, it ultimately you can't have it all. So those were the themes I caught the most.
That's an interesting perspective that I can't believe I didn't consider, and I think it's just because I'm not a dad.
Right.
But I've asked my friends who are parents about this before, and I've asked my siblings about this. I've been like,
Mhm.
do you get sad about like do you ever miss like who the kid like that like a certain age, like were you like, oh, like this kid was really, really tender and really sweet when they were 5.
Mhm.
Like, there was a
Yeah.
really, like, sweet little pocket in there where, like, they were just the cutest little kid. And
Yeah.
obviously, it's like you like all the phases. Like, there's something about the softness of and the vulnerability of the infant stage where it's just like you're
Totally.
just so helpless and
Mhm.
fragile and little and just this little thing that fits right in here. And then
Mhm.
there's something about those those early phases of forming words and learning how to walk that's so cute, and the way that they move and look around the room and the
Yeah.
faces that they
Yeah.
make. And then like 3 to 5, that toddler phase of like being able to speak in sentences but with like the cutest little voice. And it's
Yeah.
all just like and it's like I've asked my friends that are parents, like, oh, is that hard to watch? Is that hard to are you constantly mourning like, "Oh, no, I'm never gonna get that back," even though you're like, "I like who you are now. I like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
twelve-year-old version of you. I
Yeah.
like, it's fun to watch you grow up, but I wish I could get one more day with you as a 4-year-old. It was so
Right.
much fun
Yeah.
um, and I hadn't considered that, and I think that's it's an interesting continuation of something that this franchise has always done, which is it knows that the human characters are aging with it, and it's
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, that was my favorite thing about 3 was like we were 7 years old when we watched the first one in
Yeah.
theaters, and then
Yep.
we were college aged when we watched the third one, and we watched
Yeah.
Andy go off to college, and,
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
and the movies grew up we grew up with Andy, and I
Yeah.
think that's an interesting thing that I had, like, that thing of showing us, Emily with her daughter,
Yeah.
that they're using the toys as a stand-in for parents who get
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But again, it's like it's an analogy that doesn't work one to one because the parents get
Right.
to, like, stay with the kid. Like, even though
Exactly.
it's like that phase of your life is gone, you still get to stay with the kid, and you get to be with them through all the phases. The toy is like, you only get these 3 years
Yeah.
if
Yeah. Yep.
and then you're done.
You're done. You're out.
And for most of the toys in this universe, what we find out is it's like most of you are gonna like there's a scene in every single one of these movies where one of our main characters like stumbles across a gang of like forgotten toys somewhere
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
all like, kill me, put me
Yeah.
out of my misery. That are like,
You
I
don't
get
know
out
about
here.
devices? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like all the
yeah,
forgotten toys in this movie. I was like, oh, this is
yeah.
creepy.
There is a scene in every single Toy Story movie where they come
Yeah.
across a gang of like forgotten or neglected or abused toys that
Yes. Yes.
and it seems like for the majority of toys, that's most of their lives.
Yep.
And so that yeah, so it's like but I hadn't thought about that, about the parent
Mhm.
metaphor, and that is nice. And but
Yeah.
it's still it's like, boy, if I think too much about what this movie is trying to get me to think
Yeah.
about, I inevitably get sad for my characters.
Right.
Are there any biggest shocks in here to you?
The biggest shock to me was that there was no Emily. I thought she was going to actually show up in this movie.
Me too, weirdly.
And I read something and Andrew Stanton was saying like, "Oh, we didn't want to include Emily because everyone was expecting that." I was like, "Well, sometimes giving people what they want is a good thing." And I felt like it would have been more impactful. Again, Jesse finding a lunchbox and a thing on a tree felt more Deus Ex Machina to me. I feel like if she was able to see Emily and like even if it's from afar and like have that same realization, I think that would have been better. So I was kind of shocked that they didn't do that and they kind of it's not really a cop out that they did it this other way, but I was kind of like it was almost like they were purposefully subverting expectations just because. And I was kind of like,
Here
I think it would have been more powerful if we would have seen her,
a-
and had the revelation of like seeing her daughter Jessie with her, that might have been better.
as soon as it was made clear that Jessie was headed back to the home that she
Yeah.
lived in with Emily, I thought, oh, are we going to see Emily in this movie? That's the only
Yeah.
reason why the movie would take us back there is Emily. I was like, surely she doesn't still live there, but like,
Yeah.
does she know the people who live there? Is she going to show up? Because
Right.
I don't know, but
Yeah,
I was
or
like,
like they could have had her, the mom of Blaze could have been like, "Oh, Jesse, we found your toy," or "Emily, we found your toy. Like maybe you could come over." If they have a
yeah, she's got the
relationship, something
number
like
on
that.
that they call her, and
Yeah,
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 she's got the number on, and I thought there's a way you can get her in there, but then I also thought like similar to how I felt when she found the little keepsake box, the little lunch box, I was like, I just don't buy it. And I think if they had brought her in, I would have felt the same way where it would have been like, you are shoehorning in something in here to give Jessie some kind of closure and finality with
yeah,
this Emily wound that she has
mhm,
that, and I would have just been like, I don't believe you. And that's the problem is like, you created this problem movie, like you created the problem of Jesse's
yeah,
unhealable Emily wound, but
yeah,
like that's the problem with these movies is if these characters only exist to if the highest ambition of their life is to just have a few fun years with a kid, then when that kid stops caring about them, that is a like devastating psychological wound that cannot be repaired. And in the real world, there's no reason why Emily would ever like there's no reason why I should ever come across any toy I ever got rid of. I ever sold at a garage sale.
yeah, yeah.
There's just no reason why it should ever happen.
No,
And I have a handful of my toys that I grew up with that my nieces and nephews played with when they were growing up, but now all my nieces and nephews are done with the age where they
yeah,
play with toys, and they are
yep.
now just a lot of those toys are sitting in a playroom in my parents' basement. That
Mine too.
was
Yep.
yeah, and they're still there, but I
Yeah,
don't even when I'm visiting, I don't even go in and check on them
I
because
know. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
You know why? Because it's
Do you
not
miss me?
alive.
I know. It's not sentient. It's a
It's a
toy.
it's a chunk of plastic. It's,
Right. Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
But, yeah, so, okay, how about the ending of the film? We've already kind of covered it. We've kind of covered the
Yeah.
landing place of this, and
Yeah.
it's
I
fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I think I liked I really liked the Bonnie and Blaze uh that whole thing. I think that worked really
I'm
well.
glad Bonnie found a friend that
Yes.
matches her freak and that
Yep. Yeah,
that
yeah.
that
Yeah,
fits her
yeah.
style.
Exactly. I
Yeah,
thought that was good. I liked that. Everything else was a little like the Jesse and Lily Pad like making up. I didn't think that was particularly earned very well.
yeah,
Um, but the ending that it ultimately came to was good, and I like that. Bonnie and Blaze are playing, and then the twins across the street come and they play with them too. Like, yeah, I thought that was very nice, very
Jesse and
sweet.
Buzz are married. They're
Oh yeah, that
married,
too. Like, yeah, great, all right, cool. Like,
which
I
also,
guess. What does that
convenient.
mean? Can
Yeah,
toys have
I know.
babies now? I don't
There
know.
there is a whole storyline in this movie where, like, Buzz's whole thing is he wants to propose to Emily, and he wants to marry her, and the whole time I was
Jesse.
like, yeah, Jesse, sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
He wants to
yeah.
propose to Jesse. The whole movie I was like, what does he think proposing is? I was like, what
What
does
does
he
that even
think is gonna
mean?
happen? Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? He wants to get down on one knee and ask her to marry him. I was like,
Yeah.
what do you
It's
and
so
then
weird. It opens a whole new weird existential crisis.
I know, and then it was like the only way they get married is that Bonnie, like, plays pretend that they're marrying each other, and it's like, well, I guess it's a good thing that she had Jesse marry Buzz and not, like, Slinky. Like,
Scam. Yeah.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
I just was like, I guess it's a good thing that they're, like, the 2 most prominent boy and girl toys in her but the movie starts at a wedding with Forky marrying whatever her name is. I
Knifey?
can't remember.
I don't yeah.
Knifey?
I
Yeah,
don't
I was
like
like,
that. That's the only logical name, right?
I never quite caught that character's name. I never,
I
but
don't know either.
yeah, that was it was Buddy and or Woody and Buzz. I should have put that in my lowest lows. That I just was like, it. As much as I'm fine with Woody and Buzz being like, hey, they've had their time in the spotlight. It was kind of a bummer to just have them sort of just be there,
Mhm.
just sort of taking up space in this movie, like
Yeah.
and the movie having to like find manufacture reasons for them to be there, and I don't know. I
Mhm.
just kind of felt
Yeah.
bad for
Yeah.
them as characters, and Woody just sort of ends the movie where he started. He's like, "Well, saw my friends. I'm gonna go back to being a lost toy with, where I left
Mhm.
off with." And Buzz gets to marry Jesse, which is fine, but it's
Yeah.
also weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, Okay, they're married. All right,
Yeah, I know. It's like, okay, what does that mean? But yeah.
yeah."
Yeah.
I guess Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head have always been married and whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so I guess Knifey's name is Karen Beverly.
that's right. Yeah, they said some name, and I was like,
They did
"What?
say something, and I was like, "Yeah, who?" Like,
Who?" Yeah,
who is no, it's
Ka-
Knifey. Come on, Forky
Karen
Knifey. It just makes sense.
Forky and his wife Karen Beverly.
Yeah.
I kinda I kinda like that just because it's, like, the random nature of a kid's brain,
It is,
you
yeah.
know?
That is
It's
pretty
like, "This
funny.
is Horsey, and this other horse's name is Stephanie," and it's like, "Okay, sure.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Sure."
Yep, yep.
Yeah, might as well
That's how
be.
it goes. Yep.
Um, yeah, alright, so that's Toy Story 5. We're gonna get into our scores here. We give ratings out of 10. We give a technical rating, we give a rating for the ending, we give a rating for rewatchability, we give a rating for cultural impact, and we give a rating for our subjective feelings on the film. So what's your technical rating for Toy Story 5?
Okay, so this is gonna be the time when I'm subtracting my own feelings from this, just trying to
Mhm.
look at the craft that they made.
Sure.
And honestly, it was done very well, as we've talked about. This is a
Yeah.
good movie. It's made well. They have heart, like the structure's there, and like the characters have depth, and everything is done. So honestly, I'm giving it a 7.5. I should probably give it an 8. Um, Actually, I am going to give it an 8 because I think it just does its job really well. and I think it's made by people who know what they're doing and they know how to do it very well. So I'm going to give them credit there, and I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, I'm at an 8 as well on the technical score because exactly what you just said. I got to kind of give it the Dark Knight Rises treatment where I always go, hey, if Batman Begins and The Dark Knight didn't exist and someone just came out with The Dark Knight Rises as a one-off
Right.
Batman film, I would think it's like one of the best Batman films ever made and one of the best superhero movies ever made. But
Right.
because it's being compared to its predecessors, it gets all these dings against it. And Toy Story 5 sort of has the same thing. It's like, well, it's not necessarily the filmmaker's fault that it's the fifth one and that Disney keeps forcing them to make more of these.
Right.
If none of the other movies existed and they just came out with a movie called Toy Story today and it was this film, I would think it
Mhm.
was a very well made film and
Yes.
like very well constructed, beautifully animated. And I feel like as a fifth entry in this franchise,
Right.
they're doing the best they can with
Yeah.
the situation they're in.
Yeah.
And I have to give it up for them for always striving for excellence with these films.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I love the point that you bring, like, as a 5th film, like, if you think about
Mhm,
Transformers 5, which, I don't know, The Last
right.
Night or whatever, like, that movie just sucks, like, it's just
Yeah,
not good, and this movie does not suck, like, it's a personal preference that we're
yeah.
talking about, right? Which we'll get to that in our subjective score, but it really, as a 5th film, is pretty amazing that they've been able to make 5 very well-made films,
Yeah.
technically.
Ending.
Ending, I gave a 7. I think Bonnie and Blaze playing is really good. I thought that part of it was earned. Jesse's conclusion I didn't think was executed very well, so I'm docking it points for that. But still, good ending, solid. It was all set up and executed well for certain parts of the story. So
Yeah, I'd give it a 7 as well. It's same exact thing where it's just sort of like, yeah, again, like you landed the plane kind of in the only place it could be landed. That's why I didn't really have anything for biggest shocks in the film because I was like,
mhm,
I don't think I really expected anything other than what I got. And you
yeah,
landed where you needed to land. And I don't really expect you to do anything more than that. It's just that it feels sort of like a retread and feels sort of like thematically, it still kind of breaks my heart a little bit.
yeah.
Um, Rewatchability.
Rewatchability, I have it at a 6. Like, this is more for me. Like, I could rewatch it, and there's some funny parts for sure, but it's gonna be low on the scale of Toy Story movies that I'd want to watch. And then, but also like having it on, if my kids had it on, I'm sure I'd find enjoyment from watching it. So
Yeah, I've got it at a 5 because it's like, it's fine if
yeah,
it's on, but it is I've seen Toy Story 4 one time, and I
yeah, me
feel
too.
like it's gonna be much the same with this film. I've seen the first 3, each one of them several times,
Mhm.
and, you know, I just think that my feeling about rewatching is that, like, these films don't really bring me much joy. I just feel
Yeah,
bad for the main
yeah,
characters mostly, and I'm just like, it's sad to me. So, yeah.
makes sense. Yep.
How about cultural impact?
Cultural impact. I don't know how to score this. Real, I gave it a 7. Because it is. I mean, it's made a ton of money already,
Yeah.
and it's going to. From what I have seen, it's going to beat Supergirl at the box office this weekend, which is pretty crazy. And I think any these movies as a whole are a 10. Every many of them, but I think this one is going to be a little bit lower than some of the other ones. So I don't know. 7 felt appropriate.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that the Toy Story franchise culturally is a 10 for sure. And I guess the question here is like, is this going to have the same or similar impact on kids today as the first one did
Right.
on us? And
Right.
like, is this going to inspire a new generation of kids to like buy toys from Toy Story, play with toys? Um, and if that's it, if that is the impact that this film has, is that it gets kids to want to pull away from screen time and play with toys again and make believe again, that's a big impact. So I would give it like a 7 or a 7.5.
Yeah.
Even though it's like for me personally, I'm like, I don't really care. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but that maybe the reality is like, yeah, you don't care because you're almost 40, dude.
Yeah.
Like you're not
Yeah.
7 anymore,
Which I
So
gotta ask you, did we see this together?
probably.
Okay. Do you remember? I saw this at the Villa Theater. Do you remember the Villa?
Yeah. Mhm.
Did you see it there, or do you
I
remember
don't know.
like?
I can't remember.
Okay, I
Couldn't
feel like
tell
we
you.
might have seen it, but like
There's a
also an
good chance.
awesome experience. Yeah, there is a
Yeah.
good chance.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how I don't know. I remember walking into it and watching it there. Anyway, great
Yeah.
theater. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
It's a rug store. So
It is. It is a rug store now. It's been a
yeah,
rug store for a very long time.
yes, it has. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How about your subjective score?
Subjective score is a 5. I personally just, and I honestly maybe could go even a little bit lower. But we're giving it the props that it deserves on the technical side. But
Mhm,
personally, me, in comparison to the other 4, it's the lowest, kind of by a wide margin. And I think I was
mhm.
frustrated with the execution that they did. So I didn't really love this movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 4.5. For
I was thinking that
yeah.
too.
Yeah, it's and again, I think you're right. We're giving it every all the flowers that we can give it.
Yeah.
It's just and maybe it is just that we've aged out of it and it's not
Yeah.
and maybe that's the problem is I'm thinking too deeply about it. But here's the thing is I asked Olivia this too. I
Yeah.
said, didn't these movies kind of make you sad as a kid too? And she's like, yes. She's like, it gave me like a complex about like
Yeah.
feeling guilty when I played with one toy over the other. She's like, I started feeling bad as a kid anytime I would get a new toy that the other toys were going to get jealous. And I was like, yeah, me
I did
too.
that too.
I was like, it like messed me up. And I was
It
like,
did,
so like
yeah.
I've always sort of felt bad about this. So I don't know.
I
It's a
still
weird,
it is a
yeah.
weird feeling. I still feel that. I look at toys and I'm like, well, if this was Toy Story, the toy would be alive. What would they be like? I still think about it.
It's and the more we go into it, the harder it is for me to look at. It
Mhm.
just feels like every time these movies bring me back, they're just like, "Hey, the toys are back and they're still really sad." And I'm like, "Thanks guys. I know. I know." I'm like, "Can you make a movie where they're happy at the end?" And you know that the movies do technically always end with them being like, "Okay." But I'm also
Yeah.
like, there is a sadness under their happiness that I am aware of when the credits roll that I'm just
Yeah.
like, "It's not
Yeah.
real. The happiness isn't
Yeah.
real. It's not lasting. I know more than they know and I know that they're going to be just as sad in a few years." I know.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
like it's yeah, it's anyway, it's weird. That's Toy Story. Toy Story 5. Let us know what you thought. Let us know if there were parts that you were surprised we didn't mention that were on your highest highs, were on your lowest
Mm.
lows. You know, your thoughts on the franchise. We are going to see Supergirl next in theaters.
Yep.
So if you want to watch along with the show, that's what we're watching. Go to the theater, see Supergirl, form your own opinion. Don't worry about what the Rotten Tomatoes thing is saying. Just
Yes.
go see it and see what you think. They might be right. It might not be that great. We'll see.
We'll
Uh,
find out.
like, share, comment, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.